Good afternoon and welcome to News Now, where we tell you all the stories that are making headlines at this particular hour. My name is Hibak Said. Let's take a look at the highlights. The highlights. Education Cabinet Secretary Ezekiel Machogu has assured Kenyans there will be smooth 100% transition to secondary schools. And business people to export goods to the 27-state-rich European Union after the official signing of the Economic Partnership Agreement between Kenya and the European Union.
We have successfully negotiated a framework for the delivery of the bottom-up economic transformation agenda by connecting our hard-working workers and entrepreneurs with transformative opportunities in one of Kenya's biggest export markets.
It is very important to strengthen our supply chains and diversify them with trusted, like-minded partners.
Also, Interior PS Raymond Omolo has unveiled border security curriculum.
Primarily, this is to equip them with the necessary tools to deal with the challenges that come with the movement, not just of people, but also of goods across the border points.
Welcome once again. You will now be able to export your goods to the 27-state-rich European Union, tariff and quota-free, after the official signing of the Economic Partnership Agreement between Kenya and the Economic European Union. President William Ruto says the trade pact will ensure Kenyan goods get global recognition through entry into the European market, as the country finds means to also extend the trade agreement to encompass labor exportation. Now, the pact, which ends an 8-year-long negotiation limbo, also came with a considerable 3.5 billion investment in Kenya's green energy as the country inches closer to a 100% renewable energy status.
The Kenya-EU Economic Partnership Agreement. This highly positive, historic, and transformative development is the culmination of highly committed engagements anchored by long-standing cordial ties between Kenya and the 27 countries which form the EU, both jointly and severally.
Opportunities of increased market access and diversification of Kenya's exports to the European Union, particularly horticultural products. I also note that this trade deal includes substantial development and cooperation elements with a focus on sustainable provisions. These include climate action, environmental protection, and labor rights, amongst others.
Today's agreement heralds a new era where Kenyan goods gain immediate and permanent duty and quota-free access to the European market. Over time, European goods will also gain preferential access to the Kenyan market.
Now, the Ministry of Interior and National Administration Principal Secretary Raymond Omolo has assured Kenyans security in all border points will be upheld. Speaking in Kabete, Kiambu County during the launch of Border Management Curriculum Plan, Omolo said the management will help the frontline officers with necessary tools to face the challenges of movement of people and goods at the border points. Omolo reiterated that improvised explosive devices still remains a security challenge in some parts in the country, where he said his ministry is training officers to give them skills to counter the threats, where Border Patrol officers are getting high training skills in Kanyonyo to deal with immigrants after President William Ruto declared Kenya a free visa country.
Curriculum is basically meant for our frontline officers who man our points of entry and exit across all the border points. And primarily, this is to equip them with the necessary tools to deal with the challenges that come with the movement, not just of people, but also of goods across the border points. It continues to be a challenge, but we have our security officers who are well trained to be able to deal with that. A few weeks ago, sometimes in November, we did launch a program at the Border Police Unit in Kanyonyo, where our officers constantly undergo training to be able to deal with those threats. And the assurance we are giving the country is that even though those threats remains and they exist, we are up to the task of dealing with it. And most significantly, the President did declare that Kenya is a visa-free country. We expect that everyone or everybody who is coming into the country gets in visa-free. Of course, there will be issues around security to deal with that, and part of this curriculum is to better equip our officers, not just in terms of knowing how to deal with those threats, but also to be able to facilitate those movements so that it's much more efficient. And beyond facilitating movement of people, we are also able to facilitate trade.
On to matters education, where all Form 1 students will report to their various secondary schools from the 15th of January 2024. Speaking during the release of the 2024 Form 1 selection exercise in Lenana School, Education Cabinet Secretary Ezekiel Machogu said all candidates who scored 400 marks and above were placed in either national or extra-county schools of their choice, while all other students were placed in county or sub-county schools. Kabianga High School was the most sorted after school. 186,357 students selected the school, while it can only hold 672 students.
Those who left, who joined the Form 1, so it's a small percentage that has dropped out. The purpose of 100% transition, yes, when one gets out Form 4 and completes Form 4, he will be at the right age to join either university or a TVET institution. It is in this particular institution that one will be able to acquire the necessary required skills and competencies. And you know, we are saying there is no failure. Each and every one of us as a press, if not in a university, in a TVET institution, in a vocational training center, where one will be able to acquire skills which will then enable him to participate effectively in the national development of this country. So that is why we are insisting on 100% transition, such that after that level, then one will be able to get the opportunity of joining a technical institution where he will be able to get lifelong skills. So our emphasis and the focus is on lifelong skills, which will be able to enable young people to access employment, be self-employed, and even be able to work out of the country.
Are there measures to ensure that students will get informed?
All right, the Anglican Churches of Kenya Archbishop Jackson Ole Sapit has criticized the government on its model of addressing the high cost of living, stating that Kenyans are still suffering at the same time. Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua urged Kenyans to be patient and to have faith in President Ruto's efforts to strengthen the country's economy. Micah Gongo reports.
Speaking in Nyahururu during a retirement ceremony of Nyahururu Diocese Bishop Stephen Mwaura Kabara, Archbishop Ole Sapit urged the government to come up with alternative ways of raising revenue other than overburdening Kenyans through taxation.
Hali ngumu ya maisha inasababishwa na mambo kadha wa kadha ambayo tunataka kuomba wale ambao ni policy makers walitilie maanani, kwa sababu wa Kenya bado wanasukumwa na hali ngumu ya maisha. Na kila mahali tumetembea tumesikia kilio, na sisi wote tunajua gharama ya mafuta bado iko juu.
Ole Sapit observing that high taxation has made it very hard for investors to invest in the country, and this has in return contributed to the increasing numbers of unemployment.
Tunaomba ya kwamba policy makers wetu akiwemo rais wa taifa la Kenya na wote ambayo wanahusika kwamba tutafute njia mwafaka ya kudhibiti uchumi yetu na hali ngumu ya maisha, ili tuone kama 2024 itakuwa mwaka bora kuliko hizo zingine.
Further, the Archbishop highlighted that the high cost of fuel is still hurting the pricing of essential goods that are usually used by average mwananchi, which makes it necessary for some of them to go without meals for some days at a time. Meanwhile, speaking on Sunday at AIC Zombe in Kitui County, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua is dancing to a different tune.
Mimi nikiangalia mbele tunaona mwangaza, hatuoni giza tena. tumekuwa kwa giza lakini tumeanza kuona mwangaza.
The DP stating that though the president inherited a shaky economy and a myriad of challenges such as a national debt of more than 9 trillion shillings, the head of state has performed and the results will soon be felt by everyone.
Usikuwe na wasiwasi, ni vile ilikuwa ngumu na ni vile tulipata deni ya 9.6 trillion. Sisi tulichukua hiyo deni lakini lazima tutalipa. Kwa sababu ilichukuliwa kwa niaba ya Kenya. Sasa lazima tulipe. Tulikuta wakina mama hao wazee walikuwa pesa yao wanawekewa 16 months hawapati ile 2,000. Sasa yote tumewalipa. Siku hizi tunawalipa kabla ya tarehe 30.
Gachagua said President William Ruto's administration will not discriminate any part of the country in the socio-economy development of the country. Mike Kagwango, TV47, Nairobi.
Thank you, Mike Kagwango. Moving on, culture has been regarded as an effective instrument that contributes significantly to national cohesiveness, peace, harmony, and unity building. This year's annual Firi Culture Festival and Business Expo held in Mombasa has been identified as one of its kind that celebrated the cultural diversity of the Muslim and Somali communities. Speaking in Mombasa during the event, Kamkunji Member of Parliament Yusuf Hassan highlighted the importance of government's efforts to bring all communities together through their culture to promote peace and harmony among all communities in the country.
It celebrates our diversity, it celebrates our cultures. You know, culture is the most important element of any community. And the celebration and the coming together is building bonds, creating understanding, creating unity. And I'm glad now that Firi has grown out to come to Mombasa. And now the number of people, the number of cultures and musical groups that participate is even bigger than it was.
This is the best way to support the bottom-up transformative agenda for the government, and as a government, we strongly support and encourage the diversity of our cultures, our heritage, and the unity that it creates for us as Kenyans. The thing is, it's the peak season here in Mombasa, and there are so many tourists, and Firi Festival is one of the cultural festivals that is encouraging tourism in our country.
We have 47 different cultures in Kenya, as you all know. So sisi tunataka kuleta diversity yetu hapa Mombasa, ndio Wakenya wengine wakuje watuone, wafurahie culture yetu kama chakula yetu, wimbo zetu na ile biashara ambayo sisi kama wa Somali community tunafanya hapa ndani ya Mombasa.
So specifically the Somali community or the Muslim community in general, we are offering services where the investors have the ability to take up land to build mosques. We are also making provision for the madrasa learning, the social prayer groups.
Right. Huduma Center has called for more partnership with stakeholders in order to give Kenyans an easy time in accessing government services and acquiring vital documents through the Huduma Mashinani program. This is following the success of the Huduma Center and Mombasa Cement partnership that has seen more than 1,500 people in Mombasa access vital government services and documents, including ID cards, good conduct certificates, birth and death certificates, NSSF, KRA PIN, VCT, and health, among others. According to Huduma Center Mombasa Assistant Manager Harrison Yogo, the partnership, which saw Mombasa Cement pay for all the services rendered at the Mombasa Cement Miracle Park in Kibarani, started on December 13th to December 15th.
Huduma Mashinani ni ile program ambayo Huduma Kenya inaleta ili kuleta huduma mashinani karibu na wananchi ili wananchi waweze kufaidika. Na ili ndiposa tuweze kufanya huduma mashinani, huwa tunahitaji stakeholders ama tunahitaji wale wafadhili ambao tunakuja nao pamoja ili tutoe hii huduma katika mashinani. Na katika hii haswa tumepartner na Mombasa Cement kwa ukaribu sana ili tuweze kutoa hii huduma mashinani. Tulianza on Wednesday, and on Wednesday tuliweza kuhudumia wananchi takriban 500, na jana tuliweza pia kuhudumia wananchi takriban 630, na leo kufika sasa hivi tumeshahudumia wananchi 400. Na zile services ambazo tumeleta hapa ni kama ID, tumeleta good conduct, birth certificate, death certificates, NSSF, tumeleta mambo na HELB, tumeleta mambo na KUST, tumeleta mambo na KRA, na tumeleta hata ile kitengo cha VCT na Health. VCT na Health ni service muhimu ama huduma muhimu and that is very unique in Huduma Center Mombasa and in Huduma Kenya.
From Mombasa to Baringo County, where the Council of Elders have been called upon to put a standard bride price, as many youth have been avoiding marriage owing to high bride prices due to the cost of living. Led by Baringo North MP Joseph Makilap, the move will discourage cattle raid in the northern region that has been that has rather been the norm for a very long period of time.
Enter into marriage to sort this out. The elders want a bride price standardized, blaming the high cost of bride price for the continuation of the issue of cattle rustling.
So when we make it cheaper and easier, then everyone is able to marry, because after all, love is blind. So we should not make that blindness too expensive for our country. That is what we need to do, so that every hustler should be able to, marry.
They should come up with a standard one, at least according to each and every culture, what was there before. Because we know what was there before. It was around some little amount, and maybe with some few cows, not more than 4. And you keep out what you have at the moment. You can keep 1 or 2. The rest you will keep later on.
Speaking in Marigati Catholic Church during the wedding of Eunice and Benedict Kemboi, Baringo North MP Joseph Makilap said that many parents have attached bride price to the level of education, a situation that he says has created huge problems for local youth.
This high cost of dowry has actually caused a lot of pressure, even in this banditry issue. This cattle rustling issue is because of high cost of dowry. People are raiding us to get cattle to go and pay dowry. So let's make it cheap so that we also reduce the number of cattle rustlers that come and chase our cows around this place.
So we want to encourage the Council of Elders, because most of these things are cultural. It's cultural. It is different from each and every community. Therefore, Council of Elders are the best people to make decisions on these issues to do with the culture in terms of dowry. So we are waiting upon them.
His sentiments were echoed by Baringo South MP Charles Kamren, saying that legislators will zero-rate tax on marriage certificates to ensure the fundamental rights of a family is upheld.
And what we are urging the government is that the payments, the increase of the money to pay on weddings, on anything to do with wedding, they should reduce. Let them have what it was there before, at least for some time, until the economy will improve.
Wanji Sostin, TV47.
Very interesting. Thank you, Wanji Sostin, for that report. Mbeere North MP Geoffrey Ruku has downplayed claims by the opposition leader Raila Odinga that MPs have been compromised by President William Ruto. Speaking at ACK St. Emmanuel Church Ngangara in his backyard of Mbeere North Embu County, Ruku noted that MPs are free to associate with other national leaders for the benefit of their constituents. MP Ruku observed that the National Assembly is independent and it's wrong for the opposition leader to insinuate that someone can buy them out. He, however, challenges his colleagues in the opposition to refocus on the legislative agenda rather than discussing issues at public functions.
Kuna yale ambao tumesikia jana na juzi kutoka kwa kiongozi wa Azimio Raila Odinga akisema ya kwamba wabunge wamenunuliwa na Rais William Ruto. Ukweli ni kwamba hakuna mbunge yote ambaye amenunuliwa na serikali. Wabunge walichaguliwa pale bungeni watumikie wananchi wa Kenya, na hiyo kazi tunaifanya kulingana na wajibu wa sheria. Lakini kuna wabunge wa mlengo ya Azimio, wabunge wa ODM, wabunge wa Wiper ambao ni wazembe zaidi katika kazi yao. Pale bungeni kila mbunge hapo na haki ya kuleta mswada, ya kuleta amendment ya sheria tofauti tofauti ili Kenya yetu isimame ikae sawa sawa. Kila mbunge ako na haki, na bunge lenyewe limeajiri watu wengi wa kusaidia wabunge kukarabati sheria tofauti tofauti, lakini yale wabunge wa Wiper